going on, guys, and welcome back to the Honeystead. We have got some Galangal, some Burdock root, which I talked about in my last video, that is also called gobo, and then I also have some turmeric from my really good friend Eric from The More You Grow. I will put his YouTube channel down below. He sent me over some turmeric that he grew, and we were able to go ahead, and I have set aside a few for me to try to grow in my greenhouse, but I wanted to go ahead and try to freeze dry some of the turmeric. And while I was planning on doing that, I went through the freezer and I found that we had some of our Galangal, which is like a Thai ginger, and that was grown and harvested from my Thai grandma down in North Carolina. And then I also had two massive burdock roots, which is also called gobo, that I purchased from an international market not far from me. So my mom and I wanted to come up here, get this chopped up, get it in the freeze dryer, and let's talk about the goodness of all three. Come on. I feel like my sister should just have an entire tray of this burdock root. So what does Rosemary Gladstar say about burdock?
So this was a gift of Rosemary Gladstar Herbal Healing for Women. And what she says about burdock, which is Articum lapa. Burdock is a nourishing herb excellent for building and strengthening the entire system of young women. It is high in a variety of minerals, especially iron, thus enriching the life force of the blood. It is specifically recommended as a tonic and a cleansing herb for the liver and lymph systems. Burdock is also useful for all skin problems and often clears persistent teenage acne if taken regularly for 3 to 4 weeks. It is slightly bitter, but the flavor is easily masked with a sweet-tasting herb like licorice and fennel seed. Burdock is often combined with dandelion root as a liver cleanser and an endocrine tonic tea. It is completely non-toxic and is frequently served as food, gobo, throughout the Orient.
And this is one you can actually harvest, the burdock root. We have plenty of it growing. I actually have a lot of burdock that grows around our compost pile,
Right.
Which, I mean, I could easily harvest that pulls up. But if you don't have this growing in your area, one, you can plant it, and two, you can go to the international market and actually purchase it under as gobo. That's what it's called.
And stir-fried with
Yes.
a little teriyaki and
Yes.
sesame oil. Oh my goodness, it
delicious.
is yum.
I'll make sure to put this in the Amazon storefront, so if anyone is interested and you don't want to follow back and look at this video again, it will be in the description down below with all the books actually that we use here in the apothecary. So this is one of the first books that I purchased from a secondhand store. I don't know how many years ago, but I know it was quite a bit ago. But this is The Green Pharmacy by Dr. James A. Duke. I will make sure to put this book in that as well. But it's actually kind of a funny relationship connection with Duke and our instructor, Teresa. Now, Dr. Duke he has since passed away, but hearing our herbal teacher talk about Duke and
brings him to
her
life.
experience, I wish I would have had an opportunity to meet him, but I feel like I'm meeting him through her, from her stories of the rainforest and traveling and learning. But Dr. Duke always has a funny, interesting way of sharing about plants. And for me, I have a kind of a visual learning, and I tend to learn if it has a little humor in it, and I'm like, oh yeah, you know, that triggers.
We should have probably read this
Probably.
first.
Dr. Duke writes about turmeric, also known as curcuma longa, which I feel like I always butcher that, but I'm learning.
Can I say this?
What?
You know what it is?
What?
He says, this is his second
Oh.
little add-on, the Green Pharmacy Herbal Handbook. So he says on turmeric, what is it? It's yellow. so yellow.
Our hands are very yellow.
So yellow that stains from ground turmeric are almost impossible to remove.
I guess we'll find that out.
But he does say it's tasty, so.
But one of the compounds in turmeric inhibits the synthesis of the substance called prostaglandins in the body that are involved in pain. And I know that a lot of people will see turmeric and they're like, oh, anti-inflammatory, take it, use it, all of that. But basically the mechanism is similar to the one involved in pain relieving actions of aspirin and ibuprofen, but just a little bit weaker. Still at high doses, turmeric stimulates the adrenal glands to release the body's own cortisone, a potent reliever of inflammation and the pain it often causes. I think to me the biggest thing that I think is most important when you're looking at plant-based medicine is to actually not rule out food being your medicine.
Or a way to take it.
Or a way to take it. There are so many options on being able to cook and use this, and not just, I don't have to tincture this or freeze dry it to add it into a decoction or anything. We can actually eat this, and that I think is what a lot of people don't realize. Like when they're starting out with herbal medicine, they don't think about food necessarily as a way to help your body heal itself. And by putting the right things in it and knowing how to introduce a different meal, it's an easy way for you to just,
it's an additional bonus.
it is, it's not going to hurt yourself. You know, if you add a little bit of Galangal in with a stir-fry dish, I mean, this is, you know, just another way to take your medicine, is by eating it. Oh my gosh, I wish you guys could smell this. I wish there was a way, because look how beautiful it came out. But my mom found specifically about Galangal, which is very similar to ginger. It's
in that same type of family. So this is the American Botanical Council, the complete German Commission E monographs. Therapeutic Guide to Herbal Medicine.
This is a heck of a book.
Yeah. So, and if you are able to locate it and you're interested in the study, this is a great addition just for the knowledge. And it actually does state Galangal, the rhizome contains essential oil, pungent principles, and flavonoids. And its uses are for loss of appetite and dyspepsia.
Dis essentially means pain, and pepsia, trigger words when you're breaking down. I took Latin for a good period of time, and it really helped me in the medical field because you're able to break down the word. But when I heard pepsia, you know, I immediately think
stomach.
Yeah, your digestive system. So basically, dyspepsia is upper abdominal discomfort, often chronic or persistent.
So
indigested. So yes, so we're gonna simplify it. So
it's a bellyache.
it's really good for stomach aches, essentially. Yep. This is another great thing that you might want to consider adding to your herbal apothecary. Basically, get a medical dictionary. You can find them secondhand, but if there's words that you don't exactly know, you can look them up, and that'll help you be able to understand. So I've had a few people ask me the difference between freeze drying and dehydrating, and essentially both are removing the moisture content. However, there are some differences between the two. So a dehydrator will remove about 70% of moisture versus a freeze dryer, which is What I have here behind me, this is a Harvest Right freeze dryer. This is a medium size. Now, outside of the moisture content, there are some key things that should be brought up when it comes to dehydrating versus freeze drying. Now, dehydrated food will last up to a year if stored properly versus the freeze dried food, which could last up to 25 years. And of course, that is a huge factor, especially when it comes to food preservation. And if you're doing the work, you want to get the most bang for your buck. I've got 4 trays loaded up of burdock root, galangal, and turmeric. Now, as an herbalist, I will say, looking at the difference between what happens to the plant after it's been dehydrated versus freeze-dried, to me, the freeze dryer wins by far. And that's mainly because whatever you freeze dry, whether it's herbs or your food or these roots that we have chopped up, the rhizomes, we want to be able to have and allow the integrity of the actual plant, the medicinal properties that are in it, the vitamins, the minerals, what the substance that's actually in these plants to maintain after we freeze dried. The biggest thing is that we are not compromising the integrity of the medicinal properties of what each plant medicine that we are planning on freeze drying and putting up. We're going to be putting it up for later. Some of this we can use for cooking, others I can use turn into a powder. We can add it to a tea, all of it. And it's another way to preserve and to store it for long term. While the freeze dryer is warming up, I will say that whoever is interested in purchasing their own Harvest Right freeze dryer, I do have a link in the description with my affiliate link. So if anybody is interested in purchasing their own freeze dryer, you can go through my affiliate link, and then of course it supports our channel, and then also lets our good friends over at Harvest Right know that we were the ones that sent you along the way. So it's been 15 minutes to let the chamber completely cool down. So I am gonna load up my food. So once it's loaded up, you do want to always check the valve to make sure that it's shut off, which I already did close the valve. And then all you need to do is hit continue. After the freeze dryer is done, I will take all of the roots and I will probably go ahead and just store them in a jar with the oxygen absorber, and we will use them as we need them. I don't actually need any of that tinctured right now. We have a good bit already, so that's just going to be stored for later. Thank you guys for coming along with us on our herbalism journey, and then now incorporating the freeze dryer in that process as well. I'm very much looking forward to being able to freeze dry a lot of the herbs that we have growing and harvesting and show you guys what we're going to do with them. So thank you guys for watching, and as always, don't be afraid to get your hands dirty and learn something old.
Bye.
Bye guys.